You know, there comes a time in life when you look around and you start wondering, why is it that nice people often end up alone? And I think it's a question worth digging into, because it's not just about relationships or love. It's about how life works. It's about understanding our own nature and what it means to be nice. It's about recognizing what is needed to move forward in this complicated world. And here's something I want to start with. Being nice is not enough. Listen to me. Being nice is not enough. We were told growing up, weren't we, that if you just be nice, if you're just a good person, the world will recognize it, the rewards will follow, and somehow everything you wish for will fall into your lap. The truth is, the world doesn't work that way. I wish it did, but it doesn't. And here's why. There's a difference between being nice and being effective. You see, people misunderstand what it means to be nice. Being nice doesn't mean you have to be a doormat. It doesn't mean you have to say yes to everything and everyone. For example, you don't have to agree to extra work assignments when you're already overloaded, or attend social events when you need time for yourself. Being nice is about respect and compassion. Yes, but that doesn't mean that you have to deny your own needs, wants, and desires just to make other people happy. You've got to have a backbone. You've got to have a purpose. If you don't, let me tell you what happens. You start to become invisible. You start to blend into the background, and one day you wake up and you realize you're all alone. Now, why does that happen? Let's think about it. Nice people often believe that if they put others first, then others will do the same for them. It's an expectation we carry because deep down, we want to be recognized, we want to be loved, and we think the path to that love is through sacrifice. But let me tell you something that might be hard to hear. People can't respect what they don't see. And if you're hiding your wants, your needs, your power, if you're keeping all of that under wraps in the name of being nice, then, my friends, the world isn't going to see you. Being nice doesn't mean staying silent when you deserve to be heard. Being nice doesn't mean avoiding conflict when your boundaries are being crossed. You have to understand, people respect those who respect themselves. If you're always folding, if you're always the one giving way, then eventually the people around you will just assume that's who you are. They'll assume that you're comfortable with being in the background. And then, when the time comes that you want to step forward, that you want to be recognized, it's like no one notices. They've gotten used to you being invisible. And that's what we're talking about here today, the importance of stepping forward. Nice people end up alone because they forget to step forward. They forget that they have just as much right to shine, just as much right to speak, just as much right to take up space as anyone else. You have to claim your place in the world, folks. No one's going to do it for you. No one is going to come along and hand you the recognition you deserve if you're not willing to show up and demand it. And I get it. Sometimes we don't want to demand anything. Sometimes we're afraid that if we do, people won't like us. We're afraid that we'll be seen as aggressive or selfish. But let me ask you something. What's worse, having someone think you're a little too bold, or living a life where you're constantly overlooked? What's worse, risking someone's disapproval or spending your days feeling like you're not important enough to be noticed? There's a concept called assertive kindness. It's about being kind, but also being strong. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less than what you deserve. Nice people, listen to me, need to learn the art of assertive kindness. You need to learn how to say no when something isn't right for you. You need to learn how to say yes when something lights up your soul. You need to learn how to stand your ground when someone tries to push you around. Think about the relationships in your life, whether it's friends, family, romantic partners, co-workers. Think about the dynamics. Are you the one who always bends? Are you the one who always sacrifices? Are you the one who's always there for others, but finds that when you need something, no one's there for you? If that's the case, then it's time to change the pattern. It's time to change how you show up in your own life. Let me tell you, folks, the world respects strength, not arrogance, not rudeness, but strength. Strength means having the courage to speak up when something isn't right, standing firm in your values, and not letting others take advantage of you. It's about setting boundaries while treating others with respect. The world respects people who respect themselves. If you want to stop being alone, you've got to be willing to be seen. You've got to be willing to step out of the shadows. Nice people often end up alone because they mistake invisibility for virtue. They think, if I stay quiet, if I stay humble, if I stay small, then people will see my goodness. But that's not how it works. You have to balance humility with confidence. You have to balance kindness with courage. I want you to understand something. You are just as deserving of love, recognition, and success as anyone else, but you have to believe that, and you have to act on it. It's not enough to just sit back and hope that someone will notice you. You have to take action. You have to put yourself out there. And yes, that means taking risks. It means risking rejection. It means risking failure. It means risking the possibility that someone might not like you. But that's okay, because let me tell you something. Not everyone is going to like you. Not everyone is going to approve of you. And that's fine. The goal isn't to be liked by everyone. The goal is to be true to yourself. You know, the truth is, people are drawn to authenticity. People are drawn to those who are real, those who are willing to stand up for what they believe in. Nice people who hide their true selves, who constantly suppress their own desires in the name of keeping the peace, end up pushing people away without even realizing it. They end up alone because they're not showing the world who they really are. And if people can't see who you really are, how can they truly connect with you? Being nice should never mean being dishonest about what you need or what you want. It should never mean hiding parts of yourself to make others comfortable. It's time to redefine what it means to be nice. Being nice means being respectful, being considerate, being compassionate. But it also means respecting yourself. It means being considerate of your own needs. It means having compassion for yourself, not just for others. You know, there's this story I like to tell about the lion and the mouse. You see, a lion is powerful. A lion roars, and everyone in the jungle knows it. But a lion can also show kindness. There's a story where a mouse helps a lion, and in return, the lion shows mercy. The key here is balance. The lion isn't any less powerful because he showed kindness. In fact, his power allowed him to be kind without losing his identity. He didn't give up being the king of the jungle just to make the mouse happy. He stayed true to himself, and he acted from a place of strength. Nice people need to be like that lion. You need to remember that your kindness doesn't mean you have to give up your power. It doesn't mean you have to shrink yourself down. It doesn't mean you have to pretend you're less than you are. True kindness comes from strength. It comes from confidence. It comes from knowing who you are, what you deserve, and standing firm in that knowledge. And let me tell you, when you start to live this way, when you start to step forward and let the world see you, everything changes. You begin to feel more confident. Your relationships improve because you attract people who truly value you. And opportunities that seemed out of reach suddenly become possible. The loneliness starts to fade, and you find yourself surrounded by people who appreciate you for who you are. The loneliness starts to fade because you're no longer hiding. You're no longer waiting for someone else to come along and make you feel seen. You're taking ownership of your life. You're saying, here I am. This is me. I deserve to be here. And let me tell you, that's magnetic. That's what draws people to you. Not the act of bending and folding yourself to fit someone else's expectations, but the act of standing tall and being unapologetically you. So, how do we do it? How do we make that shift from being the nice person who ends up alone to being the nice person who's surrounded by love and connection? It starts with boundaries. It starts with learning to say no. It starts with understanding that your time, your energy, your needs, they matter. They're important. You're important. When you say no to things that drain you, you're making space for things that uplift you. When you say no to people who take advantage of your kindness, you're making room for people who will appreciate and reciprocate it. And you've got to be willing to put yourself out there. You've got to be willing to take risks. You know, people say they want connection, they want love, they want friendships, but they're afraid to take the first step. They're afraid to be vulnerable. They're afraid to reach out. They're afraid to say, hey, I'd like to get to know you better. And I get it. Putting yourself out there is scary. But let me tell you something, nothing changes if nothing changes. If you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting what you've always gotten. If you want something different, you've got to do something different. There's a kind of magic that happens. When you start living with authenticity, when you start balancing kindness with assertiveness, you begin to attract people who respect you, people who see you, people who value what you bring to the table. You begin to find yourself surrounded by people who lift you up instead of draining you, people who want to be with you because of who you are, not because of what you can do for them. And let me tell you, it's not about changing who you are. It's about becoming more of who you are. It's about peeling away the layers of fear and insecurity that have been holding you back. It's about stepping into your power. It's about realizing that being nice doesn't mean you have to be small. It doesn't mean you have to be silent. It doesn't mean you have to be alone. Nice people end up alone when they forget that they're just as worthy of love, respect, and attention as anyone else. They end up alone when they forget to stand up for themselves, when they forget to make their needs known. They end up alone when they're too afraid to take up space. But the beautiful thing is, all of that can change. All of that is within your power to change. You can decide right now, today, that you're going to start showing up differently. You can decide that you're going to balance kindness with strength, that you're going to balance humility with confidence, that you're going to balance compassion with courage. You can decide that you're going to stop hiding. You can decide that you're going to stop waiting for someone else to come along and make you feel seen. You can decide that you're going to step forward, that you're going to take up space, that you're going to claim your place in the world. And when you do that, when you start living from a place of strength, confidence, and authenticity, you'll find that the loneliness starts to fade. You'll find that people start to notice you, that they're drawn to you, that they want to be around you. Not because of what you can do for them, but because of who you are. And that, my friends, is the key. That's the secret to why nice people end up alone and how you can change it. It's not about being less nice. It's about being more you. It's about being nice, but also being strong. It's about being kind, but also being courageous. It's about being compassionate, but also being assertive. It's about understanding that you matter, that your needs matter, that your voice matters. And when you start living that way, you'll find that you're no longer alone because you're no longer hiding. You're stepping forward, you're being seen, and you're letting the world know that you're here, that you deserve to be here, and that you're ready to connect, to love, and to be loved. So my friends, take that step. Step into your power. Let go of the fear of being seen. Let go of the fear of taking up space. Let go of the fear of not being liked. Be nice, but be bold. Be kind, but be strong. Be humble, but be confident. Show the world who you are. Claim your place. And watch as everything begins to change. Watch as the loneliness fades. As the connections grow and as you find yourself surrounded by the kind of people who see you, who value you, and who love you, not for what you can do for them, but for who you truly are. And remember, my friends, this journey is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Every step you take toward authenticity is a step that will transform your life. You might find it uncomfortable at first to speak your truth, to set boundaries, to refuse being put into the background, but discomfort is where growth happens. It's in those moments where we push ourselves beyond what we have always known that we find the true essence of who we are. Take it slow if needed, but keep moving forward. Each small act of courage will build upon the last until standing tall feels natural. And here's something you need to realize. The more you allow yourself to be seen, the more you encourage others to do the same. You inspire others by stepping out of your comfort zone. Think of how empowering that is. Not only are you giving yourself the chance to be loved and recognized, but you're also setting an example. You are giving the people around you permission to be their true selves. When you live with courage and confidence, you help the people around you do the same. There's a ripple effect to your bravery. It impacts everyone who has the privilege of knowing you. For example, think about someone like Rosa Parks, whose small act of courage inspired a movement and empowered countless others to take a stand. Your bravery might not be on such a grand scale, but it can still create meaningful change in the lives of those around you. I know some of you might be saying, but it's not that simple. What if I get hurt? And let me tell you, yes, there's a chance you might get hurt. When you open up, when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, there's always that chance. But you know what's worse than getting hurt? Living a life where you're disconnected from yourself, living a life where you never get to experience true love and connection because you were too afraid to take a chance. Living a life in the shadows is a greater pain than the temporary hurt of rejection. Rejection might sting, but it also teaches you. It teaches you resilience. It shows you your strength. And it pushes you closer to finding those people who truly belong in your life. Every person who walks away because you showed them your authentic self is making room for someone who will cherish you. Every time you stand your ground, every time you say, this is who I am, take it or leave it, you make space for people who will truly love you. You've got to stop fearing the loss of people who aren't meant for you. Let go of the ones who can't appreciate the real you, because I promise you, those who do are waiting for you. But they won't find you until you decide to shine. And let's talk about taking up space. It's time to take up space. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You deserve to be here. You deserve to voice your opinions, to express your emotions, to share your thoughts. Your existence matters. Stop shrinking. Stop acting like you're an afterthought. You are just as significant as anyone else in the room, but it's not enough for me to tell you that. You have to believe it. You have to take action that shows the world you believe in your own worth. Walk into every room like you belong there, because you do. And yes, you might feel nervous. Your hands might shake. Your voice might crack. But do it anyway. Be nervous, be scared, but show up anyway. Because every time you do, you're retraining your mind to understand that it's safe for you to be seen, that it's safe for you to take up space. And eventually, you'll find that confidence isn't something you have to fake anymore. It becomes who you are. Nice people, listen closely. Your kindness is not your weakness. Your kindness is your strength, but only when you use it in balance with your self-respect. You are allowed to be kind and still say no. You are allowed to care deeply for others while still caring for yourself. You are allowed to set boundaries, to speak your truth, to refuse to be overlooked. You are allowed to take up space to say, I am here and I am mad. You do not have to be less to make others comfortable. So today, I want to challenge you. I want you to start showing up for yourself. I want you to start seeing yourself as someone worthy of everything you've ever wanted. Love, success, friendship, joy. I want you to look in the mirror and remind yourself that your voice matters, that your needs matter, that your dreams matter. Start with small steps. Speak up in a meeting. Say no to something that drains you. Reach out to someone and express your true feelings. And slowly, step by step, you'll find yourself becoming the person you've always been capable of being. This world needs nice people. It needs compassionate, loving, kind people. But it needs you to be strong too. It needs you to be visible. It needs you to show up. It needs you to lead by example, to show what it looks like to be both kind and powerful, both gentle and assertive, both humble and confident. It needs you to claim your place, to live fully, to love fully, to be unapologetically yourself. So go out there, my friends, and take up space. Shine bright. Speak up. Be bold. And watch as your world transforms around you, as you begin to attract the connections and the love that you've always deserved. Because the truth is, the world is waiting for you. It's waiting for you to step out of the shadows. It's waiting for you to take up space. It's waiting for you to be exactly who you are. And when you do, when you let your true self be seen, you'll find that you're not alone. You'll find that you never had to be alone. You'll find that the love, the connection, the recognition you've always longed for was always there, waiting for you to claim it. And that, my friends, is the real secret to why nice people don't have to end up alone. You just have to decide that you're worthy of being seen, and you have to let yourself shine. Now, as you navigate this journey, there are a few more things I want to share with you. It's important to know that real change is not always immediate. Sometimes it's subtle, gradual, and takes time to build momentum. You might face resistance, not just from the outside world, but from within yourself. Doubt might creep in, and old habits might try to pull you back to where you used to be. In those moments, I urge you to be patient with yourself. Change is a process, and every journey has its ups and downs. The important thing is to keep going. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and know that every small victory is bringing you closer to the life you deserve. Another thing you need to remember is that it's okay to stumble. You might find yourself falling back into old patterns, saying yes when you want to say no, staying quiet when you want to speak up. But when that happens, don't be too hard on yourself. It's all part of the learning process. When you fall, acknowledge it, learn from it, and then stand back up. Every time you pick yourself back up, you're stronger than you were before. You're building resilience. You're learning to trust yourself. And that's something to be proud of. Let me share a little more about boundaries because they are so crucial in transforming how you engage with the world. Setting boundaries isn't about keeping people out. It's about protecting your space so that you can let the right people in. When you set a boundary, you're letting others know how you want to be treated. You're saying, this is what I need in order to thrive. And let me tell you, the right people will respect that. The right people will appreciate that. The right people will understand that when you honor yourself, you're also honoring them because you're showing up as your best self. Boundaries also help filter out those who don't belong in your life. When you're clear about what you will and won't accept, you create space for people who value you, who understand you, who are willing to meet you halfway. It's a powerful way of ensuring that the relationships you have are built on respect and mutual appreciation. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Relationships that uplift you, connections that empower you, people who see you as you are and embrace you fully. And here's another thing. You need to celebrate yourself along the way. Every time you take a step forward, every time you speak your truth, every time you do something that scares you but moves you toward the life you want, celebrate it. It doesn't have to be a big celebration. It could be something as simple as taking a moment to acknowledge yourself or treating yourself to something you enjoy. The point is, you need to recognize your own growth. You need to see how far you've come, and you need to honor the courage it took to get there. You see, self-love and self-respect aren't destinations. They are practices, things you choose to do every day, actions you take to honor who you are. And that's why celebrating your progress is so important. It reinforces your belief in yourself. It reminds you that you are capable, that you are deserving, that you are enough. And the more you celebrate yourself, the more natural it becomes to keep taking those steps forward. And let's talk about vulnerability for a moment. I know it's uncomfortable. I know that opening yourself up to the world can feel like exposing all of your weaknesses, but here's the truth. Vulnerability is actually a source of strength. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you're being courageous. You're letting people see the real you, the parts that aren't perfect, the parts that are still growing. And that authenticity, that's what draws people in. That's what makes real connection possible. Because we all have imperfections, we all have fears, and when you're brave enough to share yours, you give others permission to share theirs too. You create an environment where real, honest, meaningful connection can thrive. The journey to being seen, to being heard, to being loved starts with you. It starts with showing up for yourself every single day. It starts with letting go of the fear that's been holding you back. It starts with understanding that you are worthy, not because of what you do for others, not because of how perfectly you fit into anyone's expectations, but simply because of who you are. You are worthy because you exist. You are enough as you are. And when you start living with that knowledge, when you start making choices that reflect that belief, everything in your world starts to shift. So I want you to remember this. Being nice is a beautiful quality. The world needs nice people, But being nice does not mean sacrificing yourself. It does not mean being invisible. It does not mean being alone. It means being kind while also being strong. It means showing compassion to others while also having compassion for yourself. It means setting boundaries, speaking your truth, and standing tall in who you are. You have everything you need within you. You have the strength, you have the courage, you have the power. All you need to do is decide to use it. Decide to step forward. Decide to let the world see you. And when you do, when you embrace who you truly are, you will find that you're not alone. You will find that you never had to be alone, because the people who truly belong in your life are waiting for you. They're waiting to see you, to know you, to love you. All you need to do is take that first step, step into your power, step into your light, and let yourself be seen. And watch as your life transforms. Watch as your world expands. Watch as the loneliness fades away and is replaced by connection, by love, by true belonging. Take up space, my friends. Shine brightly. Be bold. Be kind. And most importantly, be yourself. The world is waiting for you. Let yourself be seen and let yourself be loved for exactly who you are,